Hey everybody, welcome. I am Daniel G. Garza, and this is Putting Together Conversations 5 o'clock episode. I am really excited to have you guys all back. You've been joining me today on some really cool shows, and I hope you've enjoyed them. If you missed this one, go back one. I'm sorry, if you're here now and you missed the one before, Aaron Lacombe, singer songwriter, was on this show. So if you missed it, if you are LGBTQ and you are aware of the song Uncle Frank, I'm sorry, Uncle Carl, the singer was just here. You just missed him, but I'm glad you're here for the 5 o'clock. Um, I am so excited to have these guys with me today. Sorry, I'm doing what I usually do. I know some of you have criticized me for this, but I'm a one-man show. What do you want? Uh, as we are talking, we're poking at buttons and trying to share to make sure that you guys get the best viewing and on TV. We're not on TV. We're on live stream. Shut up. Um, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't had lunch today. I had 5 fish sticks, and I think my brain is kind of wandering out there somewhere. But my guests today are. Uh, Now I have a question. Doing the most. Why is there no G?
Because it sounds awkward to say doing the most.
Well, and then it comes from the slang kind of urban street hood term doing the most
Got it.
that was
I
created.
didn't know exactly. I didn't know doing had a G until I was in like 5th grade. I thought it always just had an N. Like,
Well, coming
oh,
from
there's a G in
Texas,
there.
we dropped the G's of a lot of stuff anyway. So doing,
Yeah.
yeah, fishing, doing, yeah. So
Doing.
it's very natural for me. So I want to welcome Iggy, Rios, and Christy Knowings. Thank you for coming on the show. How are you guys doing?
Good, thank you.
How are you?
I'm-
Hungry, I know, but
I
Yeah.
am. I've been busy today. Yes, people, I have a job, so I'm busy today. Uh, plus, I think people don't realize you guys know because you do shows too. Like, there's a lot of pre-production stuff that goes on. So even though you say we're starting at 5, that you're on at like 4 already setting things up and.
right.
So, but thank you for being here. You guys. I'm gonna call them out because they were driving, and this is really cool because they were driving, and they had this really cool sunset background as they're driving. So I told them they looked so Thelma and Louise, and Iggy and I were like, y'all drive, y'all like, we're not going with you on this one. Jump, Thelma, jump, Louise.
No.
Um, but so how you guys been? How has everything been for you guys right now? Lockdowns and everything going on, end of the year, Christmas.
It's I know it's like, lockdown and everything, but we really try to focus on, making things more positive and happy, and especially during our shows, we don't usually take like any COVID gets or things like that because we want to focus on, bringing a little levity to everybody's week, and that's really kind of how we try and do things is, bringing the happy, because everybody needs a little happy right now.
And yes, we have our first comments. Thank you for joining. Liam Barr is joining us on the thread. And yes, for sure. Anybody who's joining us, if you want to ask some questions, this is where it's called Putting Together Conversations. If you want to be part of the conversation, make sure you go into the thread with the black background and you can ask questions, comments, and I'll make sure that my guests get them. Uh, Now, as usual, I like to tell a little backstory and how we know. Rebecca and I, actually, we've known each other now 11 years because I met you in
Yeah.
2009 when I first joined. We're both LA Connection comedy alumni. And so we were on stage several times together, and uh, always
Nice.
um, always nice to be competition. No, there's no competition. I don't know. Liam Barr says hi. I said hi. Can I ask some guys' opinions on some things? Of course I can. No worry, man. It's nice to meet y'all. Nice to meet you too. Um, your hearing is bad. Yes, no. Conversation, not competition. This is not a competition. We are here for conversations. Yes, we're bringing out the Jello pool, and we're all going to fight in a minute. So that's what we're doing here. But yes, Rebecca and I go back 11 years now. We were
Yeah.
children. We were mere children on stage. Uh,
We were improv newbies.
right? We did start there about the same time, right?
Yeah, that was my first improv experience ever was with you guys. So I learned by watching and working with you guys actually.
I think if I remember correctly, you were very shy when we first started.
I am pretty shy actually around people I don't know. I'm not an outgoing kind of person like that. So I am pretty shy and I was really intimidated by you guys. So that made me
Really?
even more shy. Yeah, you guys were so good.
I'm
You
just a
just
smart ass. I think that was my that was my that was my claim to fame. I was a smart ass. The one thing, and this is just calling myself out. The one thing that Dan Wiseman, if you're watching, hello,
Yeah.
excellent trainer, coach. The one thing he always called me on is he was like, "Will you stop talking to the audience? This is not about," because I would always like trying to like give a little like, y'all are in this, you're in this, right? And but from working with you, I can say about Rebecca, you were uber super talented, and it was an honor. I'm gonna have to go back because I have, for those of you totally plugging my YouTube page, there are old videos of LA Connection on my YouTube page, Daniel Garza. So I'm gonna go back. I should have done this before the show. I'm gonna go back and see if there's anything of you there or us together there. But if you are, don't look now. Don't stay on the show. But when the show is over, go to my page, Daniel Garza, and check out to see if you can find us there. You'll see me in my early years. Um, so before we get into the particular stories, a little bit about each other. Tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Uh, I have a day job. My day job is I teach at community college, and that's why I started getting into improv. Because I am such a shy person, when I got in front of the classroom, it was really hard for me to kind of make that connection with a room full of students. So I kind of went into improv because, I like comedy, and it helped so much in being a teacher because it helps you think on your toes. It helps you adapt to situations and really make a connection with, your audience or your students in that way. And I just kind of fell in love with the comedy aspect of it, but it did help in my teaching too. So it was, that's kind of how I got started and why I keep going, because I love that so much. It kind of forces me out of my shell, and I need that force.
I think we lost Iggy.
Yeah.
He'll pop in and
will be
out.
back.
He put us a math problem, and then he left. And
He
then
does that.
so
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to solve for why or not.
so two two cars leave LA for Orange County. So Iggy, how did you get into improv?
That's crazy. So, yeah, I think I also did through LA Connection. I started going out. I'm actually, I did a lot of like breakdance and b-boy, and that's really what I do the most. And at one point, I got injured, and I was thinking like, I can't really keep doing this all the time. What are you gonna do? And some of my friends were getting gigs, and I kept having to do these acting auditions, so I just kept doing it. And I was like, you got to get an improv class. Went to LA Connection and wound up joining in with a group over there. And then that group just assembled and joined up with Rebecca.
Nice. Now, Christy, I don't want to get into all that conversation.
Gotta get into all that.
Right. I mean, it's not about all that. But okay, so I'm totally trying to control my gig element. Now, I will confess that Christy and I had a chance to talk a couple of days ago, just to kind of like fill out, and I bursted out my gig moment because it took me a while to like figure out whom I was talking to, and I actually had pulled. I'm so stupid because I had an '80s vest on that I was going to come and wear out, so I kind of put it back. But Christy, for the people watching, because we have more people watching right now, can you tell them who you are and how you got into show business.
Yeah, well, I started out when I was a kid. I mean, show business. I mean, I started out when I was a kid. But like my brother and I were, we did various different projects and that kind of thing. So just kind of continued, and then the biggest thing I'd done was on Nickelodeon with all that, and so that was my entrance into comedy, professionally speaking. But I was always doing like accents and different characters just around the house. Like my mom would encourage my brother and I both to um, try different accents. We traveled a lot, so and we lived abroad, we did things abroad. So um, yeah, that's just how that happened in terms of developing these different characters and you know dialects and that kind of thing. And then that led me into you know Nickelodeon and on all that. And then now just improv is just a continuation of that, to create some more education for myself around why I do certain things comedically and how that works, and working with other people. I love being a part of an ensemble because it just teaches me to kind of, okay, pay attention to how I'm relating and responding to other people. Like, am I giving people enough chance to talk? I can, sometimes I can be a little gregarious here and there. So I have to monitor that for myself and just sort of, and it helps me to be amongst such talented people who are also gracious at the same time. It's a nice reflection to sort of peer into.
Awesome. We have a hello from Primetime Chris, who's saying, "Hey Rebecca, Christy, and PH." So
Oh, is that Prime? Was that?
Primetime, yeah, Primetime Chris.
Yes. What's up, Prime?
Prime.
He said hello to you guys. He's
So,
watching.
bro, what's up, bro?
Thank you for watching us.
Loyal supporter of ours.
Oh yeah,
So,
love Prime.
Hello,
For
Chris.
a
Thank you
while.
for watching the show. And we're at the 15. So I just want to remind everybody this is Put Together Conversations. I'm your host, Daniel G. Garza. And my guests today are the cast of,
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, doing the most. So we have Rebecca, Christy, and Iggy on the show. So because we want to motivate and inspire other people to go after their dreams and their goals, um, what is your Put It Together story? Who wants to start?
Rebecca.
Well, what?
Um, like I said, I'm a very shy person. My family doesn't really, never really encouraged us to go big for those kind of things. But like I said, I always loved comedy, and I always kind of was drawn to doing that. But because I was so shy and so unsure of myself, it was really, really hard to do the audition. Like, I was crying beforehand because I was so scared and so nervous. And I actually called my mom just before I went on, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And she actually talked me through it, and I did it, and it was really good, like so satisfying to be able to just go forward and do that and get over yourself. It's really hard to push yourself to that level, especially when you're a shy person inside. But deep inside, I have someone like, now just do it. That's like the main thing, is you'll surprise yourself if you just force yourself out of the box one time, just one time. It's surprising.
Did you enjoy the rush that comes with breaking out of that box?
I did. I really did. I do every time we perform live. Like there's a switch you have to put on, that like changes what your normal everyday thing is, and it makes you talk to people. And it's almost like once you're done, you still feel that energy of, I did this, like I made this connection. And it is a rush. It's such a rush to be able to do that in front of people, and then also it's so much nicer to be on stage not alone, but sharing it with other people, it's so much fun. It's like being a little kid, you get to play make believe every day with the people that you're working with, and bringing enjoyment, so it's very fulfilling.
Is there a pep talk or something you say to yourself to get you motivated or going? Or because I suffer from anxiety too, and I have my own little pep talk. But is there something that you do?
Usually only if I'm having like a bad day or something. I usually have to tell myself, that, just kind of, you can do this, you're better than your day. Be better than your day. Don't let your day eat you, And so I kind of like have to say that in my head, like, shake it off. You're better than this. Go have fun, And that's really what the only setback I have if I'm not having a good day, or if I'm feeling very introverted that day, or I don't want to like go out and talk to people or anything, I do have to, kind of tell myself, no, you're better than this. You can do this. Go do it. So,
Well,
yeah.
Chris says Rebecca is just always amazing, and he can't believe that you were ever shy.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much, though.
Well, Chris, just to let you know, I don't know if you caught the beginning of the show. I remember the first times seeing her on stage, and what it was like watching one of those come of age movies where the lead actress is like, I can't, and then I was like, la la la, and you're like, what the hell? Because, but Chris, if you think watching her is amazing, working with her is like uber amazing. Thank you for sharing that, Rebecca. Thank you. So who wants to go next? Who wants to go next with their put it together part?
I guess I could go next since Max over there is where the wild things are. Let me know how it is down there, Max. No, that's cool. No, yeah. So, I guess it's very interesting. Like, one reason why I stayed in the improv is because, funny story, Rebecca and I actually grew up in the same area, probably like maybe less than 3 miles from each other. Yeah. Never met her until we did improv. So it was like, and we weren't even in the same group. So when my group disbanded, it was kind of like, I was thinking like, not about doing it, and just the fact that I know she's from where I'm from, and we've had previous conversations. We worked together a few times. It was like, all right, I kind of trust this person, because, there was a time when we were growing up, South Los Angeles, like there's a time when we were growing up where you had to be like on one thing. Either you're like jock, or you're like this, or you're cheerleader that, or you're gonna get caught up, So it was cool to vibe with someone that you could trust. Like, all right, you trust that person. So that kind of kept me in the improv. But I always did performing. Like I was in like band since like 3rd grade, playing drums. I always like played basketball. I think I was pretty good at basketball. Top player or whatever. But that's a really rough funnel. That basketball funnel, like really based on your height or whatever your skill is. So I kind of always leaned towards hip hop, and always did hip hop. So, this improv experience gave me the chance to kind of do all of those things in one. Like, every single experience you had, you can put that on stage, you can share it, you can experience someone else's experience instantly without even really talking to them. You guys have a point of agreement, you can go and you can create. So, I really stayed in it because of that, and because of the people you see, like there, the young Christy, the young Rebecca. Like, you make these bonds with people who have similar visions to create, and can communicate with you in a way like that's almost like subconscious. Because a lot of this work, you could practice it, but for you to meld and gel with a group, it's just like any other group, like a crew or like a dance crew or whatever. You're gonna have a common goal, a common vibe and mentality. So, that's really why I'm still doing it. Otherwise, I probably really wouldn't be doing as much improv as it. Probably be more sketch.
Joe, I'm going to ask this question just off the top of my head. How does it feel to be working with two ladies?
Y'all look at them as ladies. I look at them as sneaky ones, man. They're the two sneaky ones, man. It's like, it's just, it's, you know, it's like one day they could be like your two closest homies, like, what's up, bro? What's up, bro? And one day it could be like your two sisters are like plotting against you. You know, you don't know. You don't know. You don't know. You're gonna deal with those in the bottom, man.
Now, I'm gonna ask a question just because of what you mentioned about where you grew up, and was that kind of like the idea? Because you talked about sports and like that's an out of getting out of wherever you are in a situation. And I think for a lot of us, because I grew up in Dallas, and where I grew up, there wasn't a lot of opportunity, especially for Latinos. Latinos, we were like, you're going to grow up, you're going to finish high school, go work in a factory, and that's your life. So entertainment was nowhere near anybody's in my house idea. Was entertainment an option for you when you were younger, or did that kind of develop over time?
I would say no, because I came from a Nigerian household, so that's almost like growing up with like Korean parents or Asian parents, man. It's like, from my perspective, it's very strict. Education is the number one goal. There's not a lot of counter opinion. Like, there's one opinion, and that's what you're gonna go with. So to be creative and go on a creative tip, it was a risk. So I always tried to massage that, kind of similar to like how Rebecca was talking. And again, we're from like the same area, so it's like kind of like a risk to like massage this thing that you want to do when your parents are like, use your intellect, use this other muscle. So yeah, I think I did all these things to just get away from getting caught up from whatever's going outside.
And I think I think hopefully the tides will change where we're the adults now. I say that laughing, we're adults. Because it's not until you're in it that you realize how much of your brain you actually have to use to stand out, to find your niche, and to get in front of everybody else. It takes a lot. So if you're a parent watching this and you're like, my kid wants to be an actor, it's not all fun, and I mean, it is fun and games, but it's not all fun and games. So good for you, man. Good for you for like finding your way, because a lot of people would have fallen through the cracks of what was expected for you to do and not entertain. So good for you, man. Good for you. And Chrissy, how did you put it together?
Well, I was listening to everyone else's and I'm like, okay, yeah. It was interesting because I did take a really long break for a while, which was so like from acting and from performing, even not performing it with music, but in terms of acting and because when I came out to California, I was determined to do a one-woman show. I just knew I was going to do a one-woman show. Like, that was my reason for being out here. Turned out that wasn't true. My reasons for being out here were just incredibly variegated and just all over the place. I've been through so much, like ups and downs going through this process, called California. And it was just improv, I think, was one of those things that I didn't know that was going to save me from myself in a lot of ways, because it causes, at least for me, it causes me to, if I'm good at it, if I'm real, if I'm raw, if I'm vulnerable, like really vulnerable and patient, it allows me to see so much about myself that I might not like, or might not be able to face, or might be willing to face, or, maybe insouciant about. There's just, there's a responsibility that comes with seeing yourself and through the lens of someone else, also someone close to you, for me. Yeah, so not definitely a lot of process in terms of getting to this point. Yeah, improv allows that release that I need. I've always been that, like, even as a kid, I would like, have all kinds of fantasies, all kinds of worlds. I would come up with like all sorts of, creative spectacle, but it was all for me, When I was walking, I'm wearing really sparkly shoes right now, and Rebecca's mom's like,
Oh,
does
that's a
Christy know
shocker.
people does she know that people aren't going to see her shoes? I'm like, I do it for me, I do it for me.
Yeah.
I don't get I'm like, no, it has to be a certain way. So yeah, it's taught me to have fun and to trust myself a lot more, and be okay with all the sides, even the ones that people don't like or that I may not be willing to face. So, and then to like myself also, and so to celebrate the things about me that are absolutely cool, which I get to see through other people, and have that same experience with them and show them how amazing they are if they don't see it, So
So that's interesting because I've talked to other actors, and singers, and one of the main things, and I've said it too in other interviews, that you kind of put yourself in second place. You go, I want the people around me to shine, even though you like I am the actor. And but um, before I get into so much of that, because there was something you said and it just triggered my head. Um, Finding something that you liked about yourself, like was there something, or is there something that you've discovered about you through improv, or through being part of uh, doing the most?
absolutely. I discovered that I'm more fearless than I maybe accepted, and I'm able to take risks, um, and that's just part of my makeup. It's always been part of my makeup to just, allow myself to go there, and I grew up in a very public way also. I grew up not just meaning in the spotlight, but the religion that I was part of was very, 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 very public. That was like my raising growing up, and we're always in the public. We're always giving talks, we're always preaching. So, and I have a twin brother, so that was always had that reflection, both the masculine and the feminine. And my mother's a performer. She's a teacher. She's a history teacher for over 35 years. And she's a traveler, So there, she loves to travel just for fun. Israel, Russia, blah, blah, everywhere. Blah, 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 blah. She's a mover and a shaker. She's a New Yorker. She's from Fort Wayne, Brooklyn. I'm from the Bronx, but we went to school in Manhattan, So it was a lot of bah, 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 bah. And the energy of that, I get to produce that on stage, and that's who I am. It's like it taps me into my roots because I get to go everywhere. When I'm in LA, I love LA. I love it. I love it. I love it. But does it give me that wide array, that spectrum of that? Not without going to certain areas that you have to drive to, or you have to know about, or you have to be part of, or have some friends. In New York, it's one block is in Queens. Got the Russian community, then you have the Hasidic community, then you have the Dominican Puerto Rican community, then you got the Jamaican community. Let's go. Yeah. Then you got the Hamptons, then you got the Long Islanders, So it was
I love Long Island. I love Long Island. But,
yeah, that energy.
So from everything you're saying, is it safe to say that improv is your escape from having to be yourself and you get to be different?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Very safe to say that.
So I've been asked to call him just Prime. So yes, Prime. He says Christy always brings the energy. So yes, she does. Just from the conversation with her the other day. So we are halfway through the show, and we have a sponsor today. So I'm going to talk about my sponsor real quick. For anybody you hear me talk about these guys, this is 54 Powerful Spices, and it's if you want to boost your system. I actually use these. So this is Power 54. It's from the Spice Lady. I put these in all my food, and It has been wonders for me. If you suffer from diabetes, high cholesterol, bad hair, bad skin, it really helps you out. I put this in my food every day. I will put the link in there for you to use it. But Spice Lady's back and she's sponsoring this episode. So go check her out. There is a smoothie blend that I have in my kitchen. I didn't bring it with me, but it's the one that I put in my oatmeal every morning. But if you're looking for something different to put in your food, spice any one of the spices, 54 Powerful or smoothie, and it really helps you out. So go check this out, guys. Thank you, Spice Lady, for sponsoring us today. If you're just watching, if you're just joining us, this is Put It Together Conversations. I'm your host, Daniel G. Garza, and today we have the cast and group of Doing the Most. We have a question. Sorry, I knew that was like, where am I going with this? Liam asked a very long question. Thank you, Liam. Do you think that there possibly is a chance at the New World Order? Do you think that there possibly is a chance at New World Order due to this pandemic, with consideration noted to our current technology advancements? The hell, Liam. I seem to lean towards thinking there will most likely be economic shifts around the world, but I'm interested to get a grasp from the community on your beliefs and thoughts in respects to spiritual and psychological evolution as a possibility of these times. What the hell, Liam? This is a 1 hour show, Liam.
That's a good question.
I think basically, I don't know the question. I think basically his question, and I'm going to paraphrase for Liam, is let's take improv consideration, entertainment. Obviously, we're all doing virtual stuff. Do you see you guys keeping this up even after theaters open and we go back to normal? You're muted.
So what? Yeah, I was gonna just translate for you.
Yeah, it's very long, and I don't know what he was trying to ask, because the only part that I understood is, what are your thoughts in respect to spiritual and psychological evolution as a possibility at these times or at any time at all?
I'm like, I got the question.
Go for it.
I mean, I'm just saying, I understood what he was asking, whether or not you were going to have us go there or not.
Yeah. It's your episode, so wherever you guys want to go.
Go there.
Bring it.
Absolutely. You mentioned, Liam, the way a new world would look, right? So I think that, and this is, to me, also how improv helps with this, because your imagination, your creativity, where your mind is able to go, that propels reality. Where energy goes, where attention goes, energy flows. So if you, even as a collective as a member of the collective, if you think along the terms of, well, how you may be being manipulated to think, right? And however you want to determine how you may be being manipulated, okay? However, whether it's through media, social media, the news, your parents, your friends, members of your community, however you're being manipulated, you decide to go through that herd mind, then please don't be surprised if you have what the herd wants in terms of whether it's good or bad. So I think that improv, or the ability to use our imagination, the ability to use our creativity to envision the kind of world that we want, to envision the kind of relationships that we want. And yes, it starts at an individual, even local level. But if we can do that, and if we can motivate something like improv to assist with that agenda, and when I say agenda, I mean with that intention of creating the kind of world we want. So I don't know if that was along the lines of, but it felt very much like you were asking this very global sort of question.
But that does make sense. It makes, and I'll throw my 2 cents in when you guys are done. Go ahead.
No, I feel you on that. I mean, it's kind of like, you know how it is in this world where we're born into this United States of America. Like we're born into a place where like we're immediately consumers. So immediately as we're born, we have to consume something from the mom. We got to get clothes. We got to store. We got to get this and that. Like our existence is always based on what can we consume, and then we have the means to consume everything at once. It's a lot less stress. Is what we perceive. So yes, in this generation, a lot of things have been taken away from us as far as movement. But we still have a lot more to give and show in the spaces that we have, using our privilege that we have to share with y'all. And I think that's kind of what Christy was saying. It's like, well, however you let yourself go with the tide can shape what you see and experience in this time right now. Like if you're privileged enough to view people in different spaces where communication is available, then you should take advantage of that and educate yourself and build. But if your agenda is to dominate or to just consume and just do it for yourself, then regardless of if this world is back open or closed, like that's what you're going to pursue, right? So yeah, so so us as as a collective, I did have that feeling too of like, it's COVID anyway. Why am I going to perform? But they challenged me, like the young ladies down here below. They challenged me, like, look, we're going to do this without you. You know what I'm saying? And that's that feeling. Like, if you're feeling that, like, I feel people progressing without me, then join that. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to like every TikTok, but you can create one. Who cares if people like it or not? You're still creating something. And that's, to me, that's the thing that we're doing in this universe that is building, is that we're just trying to create on a level to share and build. We hope everybody taps in. But for those that do, blessings. And we just build. That's why it's improv. You give us, and we give it back to you.
Yeah.
Did you want to add to that, Rebecca?
Oh, they said it perfect. Like they got it.
Because literally, I was just like in the last episode, I was talking about Aaron Lacombe, who wrote this gay anthem song for Christmas. He's straight. He's a straight white boy from Michigan, and he's like, I wrote this song, and I was concerned how the LGBTQ community was going to accept it, and I'm like, we're all diverse. We're just diverse in different ways, from the whitest of white to the darkest of dark. We're all diversity. It's how you see it. It's a perception that you have. And then when it comes to privilege, I tell people, like, yes, I'm Latino, and people in the grander scheme say, well, you're not as privileged as a white man from Orange County. But then if you break down the Latino community, I have it pretty well. I've done pretty well for myself, so I'm pretty privileged. And I think white sometimes, so I don't really like, so you know what I mean. But it's like Iggy was saying, it's you can either, you don't have to think like everybody else to create, to be part of. You can sit in the background and complain all you want, or you can create your own things and be. And yes, Prime, you challenged me to say literally. I said literally.
Come on!
Of course, he's gonna get in there.
That was a challenge. So, yes, he told me not to say anything, but I can't not say anything because it's going to be in the comments. But literally, I said it right now.
Prime.
Literally, fool. Literally, fool.
But I was trying to figure out how I was going to do it. See, that's creative. but you're right, and you brought up a good point again. I want to ask you guys about that because there is this competition. It's interesting that they said that at the very beginning. Liam mentioned the competition. There is a competition online for people's attention. We're always trying to do something bigger, better, more creative. But not everybody gets the likes. Not everybody watches your stuff. And then there's, add to that, almost every artist that I talk to talks about the need. Everybody has this need. Whether people are watching or not, what feeds your need to perform?
What feeds our need to perform? For me personally, it's like I said, it's bringing the levity. What makes me feel good is when I hear that we have made someone else feel better, like that we have someone that regularly attends our shows that has told us, you make my week, have made me feel better all week, and he looks forward to our show every week. And that, I know he's going through a rough time, and that makes me feel amazing because I have an ability to do that, and then I work with amazing people that challenge me and make me even better. And so together we put together something that brings people happiness, even just for an hour every week, we can bring levity to their lives. And that's what feeds my need, really. It's not like I need applause, because we're not on stage anymore. You don't get that immediate facial interaction. You don't hear the applause or anything like that. You're kind of alone, you're isolated, and you're just hoping they're enjoying it, which we can see in the chat. But to get that feedback that yes, we are bringing happiness to them, that's what feeds my need. That's what makes me happy, because I have an ability that I can share and bring happiness to someone else. And I'm just fortunate enough to have, these two amazing actors with me that, make me better. I mean, Christy's characters are just insane. They're so good, just so many, and you never know who she's going to come up with in any moment. I don't know when she knocks on the door who she's going to be when we open it, but it's great because, then that forces me to react and be something else. PH always brings these awesome situations. He puts us in these crazy places with all kinds of things always happening and forces us to react in that way and creates a whole new world for us. So, every week is different because we're different, but at least for me, my ultimate goal is to make people happy, because that makes me happy. It's kind of a selfish goal, really, because I want to be happy by making you happy. It's like giving Christmas gifts, but you get to give it every week.
Interesting enough, again, there's a common thread between artists and entertainers. Even though we do it for the audience, I always tell people, I'm like, I do these shows because it makes you feel good. I enjoy talking to people. I'm in this will be episode 292 or 291 in 8 years. So I've talked to like a bunch of people, and I really do it because I'm interested. Like I go after people that I like. I'm a stalker. For those of you that follow the show, I stalk people. If I see you on the news, if I see your name somewhere, I will hunt you down. And not literally. I don't do that anymore because COVID, but I will hunt you down. And so I'm gonna change the question for the other two guys because you guys all three mentioned the word trust. What does it mean? And Christy or Iggy, whoever wants to take this one, how do you reach that level of trust? Because I feel, I won't answer yet, but when you say trust, what does that mean to you?
I just want, you guys want to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I mean, for me, I come from I guess, influence of a background where like trust is a big deal, and you could choose to just not be involved and trust yourself and like forget everybody, or you were like a certain group or a certain crew. So, and after being solicited to being in a certain crew, and the luxury of being able to pick and choose, like usually it's not like that. Usually it's just you trust who's you've experienced, you shared experiences with. You share like something in common with. Sometimes it has trauma induced, from what I'm used to. So being outside of that, and then you go into school, you go to a higher level of school, trust becomes like, well, a different experience. Like, well, yeah, if I share my work with this person, are they going to take credit for my work? Are they going to like build off of my work and then say it's their work? Are they going to take my ideas and like do something? So then, it becomes a different experience with a different, I guess, specific experience with the same feeling. So on this stage, we've had experiences outside of just, the improv, trying to do business together, other projects together. And those things have built trust. or doing things outside, just meeting up outside, having a good time, going for a meal. Like, when you learn the character of the person, that's what you learn to trust.
It's pretty cool, yeah, because I feel like especially like when I was doing improv, you come from that, like, I'm coming to LA to be a star. I am going to be the star. And then you get thrown on stage and you're like, what do you mean I have to, like, that's my best joke. What do you mean I have to, like, wait a minute? But then you realize that it's just as beautiful to hand over or to open the door for somebody and go, here, you take it. And be a collective instead of an individual. And that's such a, like, it just switches that button in your brain, doesn't it? Like, it's really interesting. For Christy, that you haven't had a chat, coming from working in ensembles and working in big groups, does the one woman show seem like, I'm playing like devil advocate when I'm asking this question, but like, you come from an ensemble, you've been working with a lot of people through all your time, and now, like, does that still seem like a goal for you, or has, like, is that scarier now?
No, I think it makes it just is part of it. It's part of the experience, and so I think it's still something I want to pursue. I'm not sure I'm envisioning it the same way. That may shift in how I see that happening, or in what way. But yeah, I think some version of a one woman show is still definitely on my agenda. So yeah, it doesn't seem scary. I think it's helping, because I think the idea and why it hadn't happened was because it was so far-fetched. It was so daunting. Like, that's too much, that's really neat. I need to really let go if I'm going to do that. But I've always known that it was something I had the capacity to tackle if I allowed myself to, so this is helping, doing improv and working with an ensemble. Just, yeah, the practice, I think. Yeah.
So we're at 45 minutes. I want to remind everybody you're watching Put It Together Conversations. I'm your host, Daniel G. Garza. And my guests today are the guys from Doing the Most. Prime, since you are like our number one commenter today, if you have I'm sure there's a question that's been burning in your brain this whole time. This is your chance. Ask them. They can't go anywhere. They're here. So go ahead and put it on the comments, and I'll ask the question. We kind of got a little, and I want to expand a little more on the energy that there were. Liam's question was kind of interesting too, though. What are you, because it's easy to be creative when you're on stage. It's easy to, like, get involved because there's somebody there and you can pass it. Now, when you guys, and I'm going to be honest, guys, I've only watched, like, Janey, because I like Janey. I think she's cool. I think she's totally cool. I've been a fan of Janey from before, and I was like, she gets it. You guys are not watching Janey, and you go watch her. She's kind of cool. It reminds me of we talked about this earlier before, Christy and I. It reminds me of, this just shows how innocent and naive I am sometimes. But it reminds me of doll. Is it the couch, the big couch, the doll on the couch girl. It reminded me of her, but, like, better, like, not as tutti fruity version.
No, she's not that sweet.
No. So I dig her. When you're virtual, how do you work your energy? How do you make that happen? Because there is a different vibe. Being on stage with people, you're right there. It's immediate. I got you. But virtually, like, how, now that we got into the spiritual and the energy, how do you prep for it? What do you do to make sure the energy flows? They're very hippie.
Well, I mean, it was an adjustment at first. I think the first couple episodes were a little bit of an adjustment as far as, having that link, making that connect. in the scene. But I think when you work with people for so long and you have developed a relationship in that, then you don't have to be side by side for that energy. I mean, you can even feel energy through, a video screen, because you can feel how a person is, like I can just be sitting flat but have a lot of positive energy, and you can feel that. So I think once we just kind of linked into each other and not necessarily focused on the improv aspect, but just focused on each other, I feel like we really kind of synced into each other's energy, and our shows just kept getting better and better and better once we were able to do that. I don't know, what do you guys think?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Go ahead, PH.
No, I agree. I mean, it's like I said, it's a weird experience when you elevate. Oh yeah, I'm in the matrix. Okay, I'm back.
I was like, as he disappears into the energy.
I'm gonna be in there, I'm gonna be dabbling with that red pill, blue pill. I can't even say that. Anyway, yeah, it's crazy because you're gonna be in a space where even if you're on stage, like we're here in our setup, all this disappears, like, and you really are in a different headspace and a different kind of connection. And when people like improv, like people watch Whose Line Is It Anyway, and they've seen these other shows from their couch and they're entertained. Like imagine that, like you're doing that on stage and then you're seeing it on TV from the stage and it's still entertaining. So, I mean, I think we're at a point where we are trying to push for other mediums. Like I do see TikTok stuff. I see how funny that stuff can be as a version of reality TV and in the creative space. I see how sports is very important, but so are talk shows. So we're like communication shows. And this is kind of like what this is. The beautiful thing is if we go, while we're growing the audience, thanks for the viewers that are tapping in right now too. While we're growing the audience, it still becomes a different thing. Like, with building on your show and viewers and everything, and now it becomes a different thing because now whatever experience you bring in, I'm back in, I'm out. It elevates to that. So that's, I don't know what Christy's gonna say, but to me, that's like the crazy thing is like, it's a syndicate. Like I go into the pre-show thinking something, feeling something, but ready to absorb what they're gonna bring to me, and that's what really creates the show. Like when I'm out there breaking or doing something on the street, spontaneous or like a competition, it's that same feeling. Like when the music hits, all your moves you've been practicing forever. You can speak the language, but when it comes out to that beat or to that moment or in response to what somebody did or,
Yeah. Christy, did you want to add anything?
So beautifully said. Exactly. That that really resonated with me, PH. Just the fact, like when the music starts or when we press go and it's time, when action is called, it's like in that moment, that's where the all the joy is, because of that. Still, there's that energetic creation that takes place with the audience also, that you don't get to practice with. So it's nice.
Yeah. I think for this whole year, since March, we've all been improving our lives because we get. As he takes a deep breath, we went into lockdown and then things were thrown at us from like we were the performers and the government and the doctors and local. They were all our audience, and they're like, okay, now here's the situation. You're at home with no toilet paper. And we were like, what do I do? Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, that's just like that just made me think, the response to that, it was the universe throwing us all that stuff. It was us, really, so how do we respond to that, and when you just said, okay, as he takes a deep breath, I was like, well, that's number one. Right? Take that breath, breathe, like We have to remind ourselves or remember how to breathe like we did when we were babies. So
Right? Yeah. How, in the midst of all that was going on, I know for the audience, we had made a promise at the beginning of the season that we would not bring it, but it is so part of our the culture now that you can't not bring Mr. COVID into the conversation, especially for entertainers, especially for comics, stand-ups, performers. Like a lot of people are like, how can you laugh at a moment like this, or how can you want to be funny? Um, Again, playing devil's advocate, how do you find the funny? How do you leave your problems aside to be funny for your audience?
I mean, it sounds weird to say, but your mood is your choice. I mean, something can upset you, you can have a terrible day or whatever, but it's your choice whether or not to stay in that mode, to stay in that mood, or whether you choose to say, you know what, I'm moving on. Do you know what I mean? So to stay in that negativity, to keep the news running all day on its 24-hour circuit, that's not going to put you in a better headspace. To constantly be talking about masks or COVID or corona or the fact that you can't go anywhere, that's going to keep you in that negative space. But if you start moving forward and being like, all right, you know what, this is where I'm at, what can I do, instead of worrying about what you can't. And I think that's, for me, where it goes. It's like, okay, so I can't be on stage, I can't go do these things, I can't put on, the costumes that we like to wear and do all that stuff, but what can I do? I can do this, and this is good. I can make this as great as I possibly can, and every week I'm going to strive to make it better and better and better. And just like with Janey, like Christy's always telling me, make Janey do things, have Janey go on, Instagram, get Janey out there, because Janey makes me happy. So, those are the I choose to try and focus on the things that I can do, instead of staying in that I can't, they won't let me, they're shutting it down again. Like that's just going to bring you down lower. And, for me, it's like you got to look to move forward. What can you do, and focus on the positive.
Do you guys want to add anything to that?
I'm gonna tell Christy to go this time. You told me to go first last time.
um well, what was the question again, Daniel? What was what
Like
do you
how do you stay
Oh,
motivated?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do we find the funny? That was stuck out. Yeah, right. Like, mm, I mean, I work pretty consistently. I really work at this, is to keep my focus where I want my energy to go. To so whatever I need to do to feel good, because I don't really think there's a reason to seek to feel badly, like to go towards feeling bad for the sake of feeling bad. My consciousness has experienced that enough. I don't need to seek it out, right? So then, okay, so then what's the alternative? To be, completely complacent, to be uninvolved with my experience in this world, in the universe, and my relation to all things. No, I didn't come here to be a weakling. So why did I come here is one of the things to keep in mind for me. I'm like, I didn't come here to only experience this and to have my entire connection with source hijacked. And so now I can't even see anything else but what everybody else wants me to see. That's my choice. I get to choose what I want to pay attention to. I get to choose how I want to feel, no matter what's going on, because I know a little secret or two about that.
Yeah.
So, hey, yeah, I stay in the frequency. I'm in a whole other frequency. I'm in a whole other world. I'm in a whole other vibration. I'm in a whole other frequency. Woo! I love it.
But I dig what you just said. Like, why did I come here? And I think that is because usually about this point. By the way, we're already at the hour, but do you guys mind staying on for a couple more minutes? Are you cool? You're good?
Yeah, we're good.
We're good.
Sure.
Because usually at the 45-minute mark, which we totally passed, I'm asking for some words of wisdom to share with my audience. Um, but I feel like why did I come here? And I think that's something that you watching this on YouTube or on Facebook or listening to this on any of the channels, another shameless plug, but why did you come here? And I think this is like this last 8-10 months has been a perfect time to ask ourselves, why am I here? And what am I going to put in the world? So I want to change a little bit about um, words of wisdom. And I'm going to ask all three of you is what do you want to put out into the world?
Yeah, why don't you go on this one?
Um, man, it's interesting because I think as I look back, that answer has changed every decade or every time it's been asked. Like I'm sure in the earlier stage I would have felt like, is this? And in the middle stage, it's like this, and I feel like it's like this. And it leads me to think that number one, we can't like settle for mediocrity in whatever we're doing. Like that's something that I feel like we're doing right now as youth. And you may be hearing it like it's an old man thing or whatever, but like not really. Like it's not okay to just be mediocre. Like go hard on whatever you're gonna go hard in and try to get expert in, like try to kill it. Like that's real. Like and yeah, the tips are gonna fall where they may, but from that experience, I think you'll be able to pivot. You'll be able to pivot to do something that is great, whether it be creative or it be in your own discipline. I think that's why, I definitely come back to the group and do what we do to practice what I preach, like to stay disciplined on my craft too, what I'm doing too as well. That's number one. Number two, I think, man, like this year's really tested a lot of our faith and our souls. Like, we're willing, we're still here, like still talking about it. So we got to keep pressing and moving because people are going to forget about this. As we're in this space, feeling it, grieving, celebrating, whatever we're doing, like at some point, you may be alive in a space where people forgot this even happened. And as this shapes us, we have to continue to like help other people afterwards grow as well. Like they may not care about this story, but what can we bring in our character that still will uplift them? Like, because we're all in different stages, and that's what I would say. So, train, practice, and, stay faithful, stay committed to doing things to uplift each other,
Nice. Awesome. Ladies?
Christine.
Yeah, I think that is part of the main thing is to uplift people around us as we move on into this new age, this new frequency, this new planetary alignment, this new energy that we're all experiencing in so many different ways. Just be gentle and generous with each other, and realize hey, we all have so many different experiences, but we get to bring those experiences to the table and have them held and cared for and respected. No matter how we're coming through life, no matter in what way we're expressing, it's cared for, it's appreciated, so, and it's special. I get to work with these incredibly special individuals and meet special people like you, Daniel, and audience. And it's great to be able to say, like Rebecca mentioned earlier, to be able to touch people in this way and uplift them. That is it right there.
Cool.
I just think it's important for people, I mean, especially now because you have so much more time on your hands, because we tend to fill our time with things, even if you got 2 more hours in a day and it was 26 hours in a day, you wouldn't sit and do nothing. You'd fill it with time. But now that you're kind of, forced to not do as much, I think this is really the time for people to think about what makes you happy, and find your happy. I don't care how weird or zany it is. I personally love weirdos. Weirdos are amazing because they're so much fun, right? Weirdos are awesome. So find what makes you happy and exploit that for yourself. It doesn't matter how crazy it is. I mean, if like PH mentioned, you go on TikTok, you go on Instagram, you go on, any of those, you have all kinds of people doing all kinds of crazy, weird things. You've got Siri talking for pets, you've got people doing random dances. I mean, it's all about finding what makes it. It doesn't matter how many likes you get or how many views you get. It's just about expressing you're happy.
Yeah.
And I think that's really going to be saving grace for people. You got to focus on the happy and, embrace your weirdum. Everybody's got weird stuff. Embrace your weirdum, do it. Cause that's, I'm a grown woman with Barbies and puppets. It may seem weird, but it makes me happy. So you know what? That's what I'm going to do. Like it or not. Because
if it helps any, I still
it's
sleep
selfish.
I'm sorry, go ahead, guys. Sorry, cut you off.
No, I'm done. Go ahead.
I still sleep with stuffed animals. So let's just, and I'm wearing a Wonder Woman t-shirt. So there we go. Like, what the hell? Like, yeah.
Yeah. No.
And for all the guys out there, muscly, shirtless guys on TikTok, like it's not, I mean, I'm not that kind of gay, but if it makes you happy to appear on my phone shirtless, muscly, and sweaty, then you keep doing you.
And sweaty.
And sweaty.
I mean, not that I notice. Not that I notice. I think. I don't know.
Yeah. No, you don't. You're like, look at that glisten.
I like how you
Repeat. By the way, we have one more question for Rebecca. Prime wants to know, why does Rebecca hate literally?
All right. So my problem with literally is that people use it incorrectly. Okay. They're in a conversation. So many people will be like, oh my God, I was literally on fire. It's like, I don't think you were literally on fire. I think you felt like you were on fire. So that's my problem with literally, is that it's overused and it's used incorrectly. And that's the grammar Nazi in me. I'm sorry. But
so you have a literal problem with the word literally? Like the word literally, you literally have a problem with the way people use the word
literally. Have a problem. That would be the correct usage. Yeah, I literally have a problem.
I'm done.
With the incorrect usage of literally. That's what
I like how he just thinks it's the math problem. I'm done.
Yeah.
So, Prime, you just literally got the response from Rebecca. She literally hates him. He's putting laugh emojis all over. So he's like, yeah. Thank you so much, Prime, for your question, for joining us. So we're coming down to the last couple of minutes. Any last thoughts? Any last comments, you guys? Where can they find you? All that info?
Oh, yeah. We're on Instagram, DTM_doing the most, no G.
No G.
We also are on YouTube. That's where we go live. And we have a Twitter account. We have a Facebook account, but it's still under our former name, which is Split Decision. But we are doing the most now. So that's us.
Yeah. So do you have a particular day that you perform live on YouTube?
Yes, we perform every Friday night at 9:00. It's usually about an hour, and we take suggestions in the live chat. And and oftentimes before the show, Christy will go live, or sometimes during the show go live on Instagram, kind of show behind the scenes a little bit, which is fun. Anything you want to add, Christy?
Yeah, well, so Friday nights, that's Pacific Standard Time.
That's right. I always forget that.
And it's always a lot of fun. We always go through how the participation factor works, and it's great. So
that's one thing. If we do end up going back on stage when things open back up, we have a lot of people that watch us that are not in California and may not be able to see us. So we still want to keep the virtual aspect somehow, because we really love our watchers, our community, because they're just so amazing. Prime,
they make it.
Vaughn, Justin, Eric, Delilah, Rachel.
Prime is saying Christy with her dance moves fire every Friday.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, you have some good dance moves that we can't see right now, but Prime in our brains, we can see her dancing right now. So,
Yeah.
I had another question I had because I have a bunch of notes on you guys, and so it's really cool. So, okay, my last question before we go. So we're entertainers and we're here to entertain people. But what entertains you?
Mm.
I know what Rebecca's gonna say.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, no, I don't.
Anybody
Awkward.
want to
Go ahead, Rebecca.
go? Go ahead. What entertains me? I like well, I watch TV and I stream and do everything a lot. I'm gonna say it. So I like to watch, things like documentaries and stuff, but my daily, what gets me through my day, I'm gonna say is the Golden Girls.
Yup.
I have the Golden Girls basically on a 7-season loop nonstop, and I tried to play Trivial Pursuit with Christy, a Golden Girl edition. I got it for my birthday, and she stopped after I think like the 5th question because she was never gonna get a turn.
Yeah, I was never gonna get a turn. It was like, in order to go, she'd have to get something wrong, and
Yeah.
it was hard. I was like, okay, wow.
So Golden Girls are like my private obsession. But
Well, I'm
Yeah.
so thankful for being a friend.
Thank you for being a friend. That's
Uh,
the jam.
It really is.
One day we'll travel around the world and back again. Yeah, don't get me started. You know that's like that. You know that in the gay application, that's like on there. Do you know
Wow.
Golden Girls? Yeah, you have
Right, exactly.
to get my
Oh.
to get my
You must be a real
credentials.
pal and confidant.
To get my gay credit card, I had to know Golden Girls. So yeah, it's part of it. And for everybody watching, no, there is not a gay application. Just like, there's
There's
not.
absolutely a gay
Someone
application.
is already searching right now on Google, like, oh
Like,
my
there's
god,
definitely a gay application.
I gotta giggle it. Where's the
Yeah,
cat?
no, there's an oral test, but that's a different story. How about you guys? How about you guys? What entertains you? Yes, I went there. It's my show, damn it. I can do whatever I want.
Yep.
Thank you. What entertains y'all?
Oh man. Ass. I'm only entertained by ass. No, I'm just kidding.
Always not.
If you don't have ass, I'll still be entertained. Depends. No, I'm just kidding. That's not true.
I guess in all fairness, I opened that door. So please.
No pun intended.
You open the back door. Anyway, so we I think, yeah. I mean, I used to like stuff like Jackass back in the day. Anything that's like completely unexpected, like falling humor, like when gravity wins, like when a flat earthers lose, all that kind of stuff. Like when anti-vaxxers get vaxxed. I don't know, anything that you don't expect for me for some reason is very funny. I don't know if it comes from watching the Cosby Show and watching Bill Cosby just do random stuff that you know he's not supposed to be doing because the other people in the cast are also laughing. But just odd things, odd things and real honest, truthful things. So usually make me laugh. Like like if you're a try hard, it's not funny. Like you're trying to get it, you know what I'm saying? If you're trying to get the laugh, I'm not really with it. But
Yeah, the only time I don't like is when when it looks like they really got hurt. Like what is it, ridiculousness or whatever the show?
You're actually wondering if they're dead.
Yeah, when it's actually like when there's crotch hitting involved, I'm like, ooh no. But okay, I'm gonna be honest. but when I like kids. People think I don't like kids. I do like kids. I just like to torture them too. But when kids just do stupid little things and they like fall off tricycles or off the swings, I think that's freaking hilarious. I'm like, that's how you learn. That's how you learn. You'll never do that again, will you?
There are fewer things funnier than when a ball just randomly hits a baby in the head and watch it fall down.
oh,
I
yeah,
don't know why that's so funny. It's just hilarious. Because their
mild concussion
heads
humor.
they're so pliable. They're just
Yeah.
Our sense of
Mild
humor.
stress.
Oh,
Definitely.
God. How about you, Christy? What entertains you
Man,
besides these two?
yeah, I know. I'm like, these guys seriously do though. Yeah, I like smart humor. I also like things that aren't necessarily like, funny. Um, I like interesting films, that are like thought provoking, takes me into another world. Kind of, I like fantasy stuff, if it's done in a smart way. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm really entertained by music. I can't go a day without that. So I'm a vocalist, so it's like I like to engage musically. Um, you know, just being a musician, it's like has to be there. So it's in so many different parts of my life. I actually love like meditating and anything like spiritual, that kind of stuff. Like I love being in that zone. It's probably my favorite place to be because it's definitely in my own world, but it's also creative and it's also um, spiritual and connected. So that's just, yeah, that's probably my favorite zone to be in.
Now, you didn't bring it up, but if I may be bold enough to say it, because you just mentioned music, so I'm going to use that as my entrance. You have a single?
Yes,
Mm.
yes, I have a single just dropped a couple of weeks ago, or a week and a half ago, or something like that.
Mhm.
It's on iTunes and
Yeah.
Amazon Music and Apple Music and stuff. So it's called To the World, and it's myself and a violinist. And yeah, we recorded it a little while ago, but we thought it was the content of the music, the content of like the lyrics and everything that really matches with what's happening right now, just globally. So, um, yeah, it felt right to put it out.
By the
Your
way,
vocals are amazing on it.
I don't have iTunes, but it's on Amazon
Yeah.
Music too. So that's where I heard it. So it's on my playlist now. So I have it on.
Yay.
The day we talked, I was like, check this girl out. I was like, this is nice. Okay, it's on my playlist. It's on my favorites. So,
Oh, thank you.
so for those of you wondering, I will have it on the description. The link will be there, so you guys go check it out and find it out. So we want you to hear it. Again, make sure you find these guys every Friday night. Uh, was it 7?
9 Pacific
9
Standard.
Pacific Standard Time on YouTube, and we will post the link so you guys can find them. Guys, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Daniel. You're
Bless you,
awesome.
bless you, bless you.
Any last words before we go out?
No,
No more
just,
words?
keep her happy.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Thank
Big up Nasty by Nature crew, you know what I'm saying? Big up Six Step crew, you know what I'm saying? Big up Pro Team, you know what I'm saying? Smarts, you know what I'm saying? Double F, all the homies, you know what I'm saying? Big up.
Oh my goodness, that was like a whole crew. I'm
Right?
like,
I know.
all right, let me think. My family members. So my mom and my brother Chris. Like, I'm just like, I don't. Wow, that was dope. That was so cool. I don't have any friends.
Well, don't go anywhere. I'm sorry,
I have Janey.
Janey. Yes, you're gonna have to come back on with Janey. We have to have Janey on the show. We have to do at least like a 30-minute interview with her.
Oh, okay.
Just Janey.
Pairs up.
Oh my god,
I am Janey. If you're watching this, you are invited to come on the show. Just you though. I don't want anybody else. Just you.
Okay.
For everybody watching, this has been Putting Together Conversations. I'm your host, Daniel Garza. My guests today have been Rebecca Rios, Christy Knowings, and I'm just, yes, HP, right? Yeah, so we're with that. From Doing the Most, make sure you go check them out. All the information will be in the description. I want to thank my director, Mr. Christian Paul Ramirez, my producers, Mr. Kevin Moyers from Anoma Entertainment, and Mr. Jose Reyes from Hubris Management, my agent, Ms. Jennifer Sens from RPM. Thank you, folks, for all your support and help with the show. Inviting you, make sure you check us out. We're on every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with the Christian and Daniel Show. Every Fridays, it's the Card Devo at 6 p.m. for your card readings. And on Saturdays, remember, we have 2 shows on Saturdays, noon and 5 p.m., all Pacific Standard Times with a different guest on every episode. So make sure you check us out. If you missed any of these or you want to go back, you can find us on Facebook, or you can go to YouTube where you can find all the shows recorded there. So go check them out along with information from all our guests. If you can and you want to, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rizzle, everywhere. I'm a giver. I'm everywhere. So go check me out, find me. For now, I want to thank doing the most for joining me today. Thank you, guys. I'm Daniel G. Garza saying, hey, put it together.
Bye.